Good morning, Mr. Abel.
Jeffrey, what's going on there, son?
Just another lovely day here in the Napa Valley. How about you down in the desert there? What do you got?
It's lousy. It's lousy. It's crystal clear. Looking at the San Jacintos out there. A little snow up on top. No wind today. I got to get out there at some point and get some exercise because, I don't know, low 60s, something like that. It'll be a good day here in the desert.
I'm sorry.
I know. I'm sorry, too.
We're all going to take a moment and cry for you right
now. Yeah, well,
okay?
and probably as the day we publish this recording, it'll be somewhere in February, and I'm sure anyone in the central or the eastern time zones will be going, you guys are jerks. Stop telling me what beautiful weather you have.
Right. All right, so what are we doing here at Gold Ball Hunting? We are helping players out. We're helping senior national players, senior players that play the national events, who are struggling and maybe getting over that hump to get to the next level in their events. We're helping senior players who are playing league tennis, maybe just winning more matches or maybe wanting to bump up a level. And then your Wednesday, Saturday morning groups that are out there just, beating the tar at each other every week. And you're tired of buying the beer or buying the wine. And you want to own that a little bit more. So
you want to be the
man.
You want to be the woman every Wednesday night.
We're here to help you. We're here to help you. So what else? What else can they do in terms of helping?
Yeah. So we got three things we're trying to help you with. Number one is this podcast, and this is a daily podcast, and we're just sharing stories from our personal experiences, epiphany moments as players and also as tennis coaches. So we're trying to help you through this daily podcast. The other way is we are right now, as of this recording, we are offering a complimentary, a free, it's on us, 10-minute coaching call that it's a private call. It's free, but just the three of it. It's you, me, and Jeff. We get in the phone, or if you're outside the U.S., you want to do Skype or Zoom or something like that, we can also do that. But what we're asking is you bring the one thing in your game right now where you're struggling. I mean, you cannot figure this thing out, that if you could figure it out, your game just might take a nice little bump up to the next level. And so the way to get that, or the way to schedule that free 10-minute coaching call, go over to goldballhunting.com/call, CALL, and you can get that thing scheduled at your convenience. Find a day or time that works for you, and then we'll jump on that call. The other way is Jeff and I recorded a private video a while ago to help you reduce your skill level range, and your skill level range is that, at the top of your game, let's say you're a 4.0 guy, and your A+ level is, and let's say 4.0 it's an average, right? I mean, you don't play 4.0 every day. It's you might go out there some days the whole day, or maybe for a set or two, you can bring it to 4.1 or 4.2. But because it's an average, there are days when you're down in that 3.6 area.
Yeah.
And so that's a skill level range that if you really want to build true confidence in your game, we want to show you how to bring the bottom up to the top on a day-to-day basis, so that when you go out and play, you're confident that you can depend that today, maybe it's not your A++ game every day, but you're pretty darn close. So we want to help you do that. And as I said, we got a private free video for you. You can pick up that video over at goldballhunting.com. First name, email address, and you'll get access to that video. So, Jeff, with that, the other thing we're doing with these podcasts is we're putting each other on the hot seat.
Yes.
Meaning that one day I put Jeff in the hot seat, and he doesn't know what's coming. It's totally unscripted. And today's my day. That big gulp was because I'm a little nervous always about when I get put in the hot seat. Don't know what Jeff's going to ask me. Here come the red glasses, which always means it's something he wants to make sure that it's scary.
Actually, this is not a scary question, but I think it's important that at some point in a player's career, you have to be able to assess what happened in a match honestly, not the story that you're going to tell about why you lost the match. I'll stay on that for the moment. There, we'll kind of attack this question from that perspective, having lost a match. So, we've talked about storytelling in the past, Brent, and so at what moment, the question is, at what moment in your career did you cross that threshold, and where either was someone or something, or was a self epiphany where the storytelling, you kind of like went, 2x4 against the head, smacked yourself, or somebody smacked you, and said, okay, stop with the storytelling. Do you really want to know what happened out there? And here's not only here's an evaluation, but then from that moment forward, learning how to evaluate a match at the end of it. So at the end of a match, win or lose now, I mean, I do both, you do both. I won that match. What did I do well? What could be better? That kind of thing. And of course, when you lose a match, you definitely want to kind of get some insight as to what you did. So that's the question. When did that happen for you? When the storytelling stopped and the evaluation?
Yeah, because the storytelling for me used to be during the match, and this would be during a close match, and it was not, if I was playing a guy who I was a lot better than, rarely would there be any possibility of storytelling. Either I was playing well that day, or the guy just wasn't up to my skill level, and he was kind of giving me the match, and I didn't have to do a whole lot, or there was, a guy who I was playing who was so much better that I just was kind of going, God, I hope I don't get beat 0-0. I don't want it, but that's still a form of storytelling that's like storytelling that we tell ourselves when we're playing against a player, same skill level, or even worse. I mean, a little bit, on paper, if you're a 4-0 and you're playing against someone who's rated below you, or if you're a 5-0 and you're playing a 4-5.
The horror of the possibility of losing that match, right?
Well,
anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it is a horror show because it gets back to social status. I'm sorry, there's no other way to sugarcoat it.
Right.
But, you start thinking about the storytelling's really about excuse making. What excuse can I come up with now? Because I don't trust that I'm actually going to be able to cross a finish line here.
Right.
And so if I don't, what am I going to be able to tell myself? What am I going to be able to tell my spouse? What am I going to be able to tell my buds? And it becomes a social status thing. I'm sorry. But that's just kind of where that really is. And so for me, I guess the storytelling stopped when I started having a little bit of success. And I actually got through some of those matches where they were tight matches. Right. And for some reason on that day, I just didn't feel the need to have an excuse in case I lost. And
that probably, I'm going to jump in really quickly, and that is probably born out of at that moment, like you said, you're starting to have a little success, which means you were playing a lot of matches, a lot of tournament matches. So we've talked about this in the past too, the desensitization process of playing tournament match tennis. And there is a point when you've played a certain amount that you're not feeling those same emotions aren't quite taking over as you were. So I'm going to guess that you were probably in that sweet spot where you were ready to take that next step and just kind of let's see.
Well, and I was, and I started thinking, kind of like an idiot, where, excuse me, during a match where you're playing a close match, and all of a sudden, you chunk one. And it's an easy ball that you shouldn't chunk. And what do? You just, I mean, for me, I just go crazy. I'd go ballistic. And I would go, for whatever reason, even if I didn't say the words, God, I'm so tired today, or, oh my God, whatever it was. And I finally came to the moments after the match where I would go, well, those times when you went crazy, I don't think they really helped you in that match. And I'd watch other guys, and probably for me, that was the biggest learning moment, is I'd watch other guys go crazy. And I go, what an idiot. What a moron. He just looks like a stupid buffoon out there going crazy. And go, oh, wait a minute, remember, like you just did that 2 hours ago. And then I'd watch guys who would chunk one and there'd be no reaction at all.
Right.
And I would go, oh my God, if I did that, I would have
Right.
just going
nutty.
Where's the campanile in Berkeley? Because I want to take a high-powered rifle and start shooting
Right.
people.
Right.
So I probably learned the story building thing about watching other players and watching those two different situations when a guy would go ballistic.
Right.
And I would think, God, you look like an idiot. And I go, oh, well, I wonder what
Yeah.
other people think about you when you do the
Yeah.
exact same thing.
Yeah.
And,
Oh, I'm a member of that club, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I am the president of that club, actually.
President, right.
I think we
Mayor.
have a new member coming in.
That's right.
And yet, then I'd also watch the guys who would not do anything, and a tight match, close match, where the ingredients, at least for me, were there to go crazy, and they didn't, and I could see how it didn't give the other guy kind of that little confidence boost of, yeah,
Right.
man, this guy's going crazy. I got him. So for me, I think that was really that was the time when I started watching other guys in close
And
matches.
awareness.
And how
awareness.
and that was a big part of me learning how to play to become a better player, was actually watching the guys and stop trying to figure this thing out on my own, but actually watching how other players behaved, how they responded to certain situations, even things like what shot choices they made in
Right.
the same exact, 2 hours ago when I went crazy, I was in that exact same situation, and I thought I could go ESPN 11 o'clock top 10 highlights
Right.
up the line, this far inside the line, and I watched the same guy 2 hours later, another little nice rally ball into the middle of the court, and gosh, he won the point. So
Crazy.
I still.
So, okay. Yeah. So,
Well, I
so
was
that's-
just saying I still struggle with the potential to build a story, and yet I can recognize it now. I'm very aware of when I'm starting to go into that. And I lost a match at the Wilson tournament a couple weeks ago to a good guy, and I didn't really build the story. But what I did after the match is I wanted to evaluate what I could have done differently, or what I was unaware of that he was doing to me. That whole thing of, well, who's doing what to whom? And in the match, there were a couple things I was just kind of like thick-headed, just did not see what was going on. And I came off the match, and I was open enough to start asking some questions. I asked you.
As I recall, we had a gin and tonic over this conversation, or two.
What'd you see there? What did you see there? And I can't remember who else it was, but someone else said, well, this is what I saw. And I went, oh, God, okay. So for me, it sort of became now not a critical thing. Well, Brent, why didn't you think about that during the match? Hey, we're all human. For whatever reason, it's not an exact science. We don't go out there every time we play someone and lay the blueprint down and we feel the same day in and day out. It just doesn't work that way. And that's one of the reasons it's such a mind-blowing, beautiful game, is that we're never going to get to the end. We're never going to actually figure this whole thing out. And it's kind of like I said to you jokingly the other day, hey, man, I got to the end of the internet today. And, oh, how was it, Well, I looked over the wall, and wow, there was just nothing there.
It was dark.
It's the great thing about tennis is we're always going to be able to learn. So next time I play the guy, I've got a different strategy. I got a different plan. I'm not saying that's a guarantee that's gonna win me the match, but I'm aware of the things he was doing that day that I wasn't doing, and so.
And so let me ask you this then. So do you have a set checklist, like match evaluation, or is it really like a match by match kind of like how did it flow today?
Well, no, I do not have a piece of paper. I don't have an app. I don't have something like that where I can go to and start checking the boxes. Probably should, and it would be good at every level to be able to do that. especially if you're struggling at a certain level and you cannot get through to that next level, would be to have some kind of a post-match evaluation, which would be different than just sitting there by yourself, pounding down. I got to get through the second beer so I feel better about myself.
Right.
But something where you actually, and if whether it's a piece of paper or whether it's an app, at least going to someone who was there and actually watched the match. And you don't actually need a tennis pro. Lots of times you can go to just a buddy of yours who watches the match and don't ask him for the full detailed thing. Just go, what's the one thing you saw today that maybe I should think about?
Yeah. Yeah, maybe what did it look like I was unaware about, right? And maybe what could I have done better? And I'm going to caution our players out there too to be mindful of who you ask. Like you said, though, it doesn't need to be a pro, but be careful about a response where they're talking about all the emotional external activities that were going on. Boy, that guy really looked like he was really egging you. It looked like and they get into the basically they're going to tell your story for you because that's just bad intel, and it takes you away from being able to actually get better. When listening to somebody who's going to build the story for you. And we know those guys that do that, right?
I got to tell you, I kind of disagree with that because for me, now maybe not for everybody, if someone says, you know what, that guy really took you out of your game today, and here's specifically what he was doing.
Well, I think that's different. That's the different explanation, though, than what I'm kind of thinking in my head. It's kind of the sympathy story that you're asking for an opinion, and they give you a sympathy story as opposed to how you just worded it. Okay, so there's I agree with you 100% with the way you just put it. Okay,
right.
Yeah,
that's cool. Well, no, and I agree that you got to be careful with what the intel is that you receive. And look, let's be honest. Sometimes a teaching pro or a coach is looking through a lens that is not specific to you. And is saying, well, you know what, we got to get a little more top, or we got to do a little bit of this. It's more of a stroke technique type of thing. And so I think you got to be wary of that kind of feedback as well, as opposed to, to me, it kind of gets back down to what's this guy doing to you that is putting you on the defense or that is hurting. I sort of, one of the questions I ask when, someone says to me, well, did you watch my match today? I said, yeah. And the question that I try to get them to ask me is it's so I can answer in a way where I ask them, well, what do you feel they were doing to you today that was a problem? Because I want them to sort of come up with a certain scenario or a certain situation that they felt like, well, when the guy was serving to me in the ad court, man, it was like I was a fish out of water. Well, what do you think was happening? So it becomes a dialogue. It's not a monologue. It's, hey, what'd you see today? And it becomes, here's what you need to do, as opposed to you being able to kind of work through it and have a discussion. Right.
Yep, I agree. Totally agree.
So, all right, well, listen, great question. Great question today. Yeah, that was good. And I got to be honest, again, I'm not 100% cool with I'm more aware now when I start to build the story.
Yeah.
I'm more aware of that because what that does for me is it gets me out of the story building right away and gets me thinking, is there something different that I could be doing? And look, there are some times where that guy is playing lights out. And so my thing is not to hit the ball better or to change tactics. It's more just, can you lengthen this match out by going, let's take the full 25 seconds between points. Let's take the full 90 seconds on the changeover. Let's not be the first guy up out of the chair off the bench.
Yeah. Right? Slow it down a bit.
Let's slow it down. Let's let him dissipate this greatness. And don't you do anything more than make him hit more balls than what he has to. Don't give him anything. and just kind of hang in there a little bit longer. So
Yeah, hang out. You got to hang around. You got to figure out a way to hang around a little longer.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. So good stuff today, Jeff. So listen, I
Yeah.
would encourage you guys, if you're struggling at all with what Jeff asked me, which is how to stop the story building, right? And how to know, kind of be more aware of what's going on out there in the match when it's a tight match, and do what I didn't do a couple weeks ago, which is just to kind of
Yeah.
bonehead my way through to losing 3 and 4.
Yeah.
And if you want to jump on a 10-minute call, it's a free call. We'd love to do that and see if we can't point you in the right direction there. Go over to goldballhunting.com / maybe it's backward slash, no, it's / call, CALL, and you'll get you'll get over to our online scheduler, and you can schedule whatever is best for you, a day and time that works best for you for that free 10-minute call. Jeffrey, on that, what is the last thing we want the viewer or listener to do today?
Like us, share us, subscribe to us, and let us know what you think down below.
Outstanding.
Love to hear from you.
Outstanding. Great. Guys, thanks for hanging out with us today. As always, got to get out there today, help someone else have a spectacular day. Jeff, we'll do this again tomorrow, man.
Can't wait, brother.